reason. I'm an urban planner. We both come from Mysore, and Kaveri has always been a part of life. We've always been working around, playing around. Whatever we do, we always think that we have to include Kaveri, to work around that. And that led to this exploration where we started thinking about how food is important and where food comes from and what leads to production of food, and that was Kaveri Karavis. And that's a lifeline, and I think with that inspiration we had submitted a proposal, and that's how our proposal was selected, and we got to make this documentary. And this documentary is again it revolves around the axis of rice production, Kaveri. It's agriculture, food, and the culture. So these questions usually, for me, it arise from when I read articles about the rice theory of culture, like where we understand, we get to know that rice product producing communities are more tight-knit, and they have certain requirements that has to be done in a communal space. And those activities may have led to evolving a lot of more in-depth communal cultural practices in the community. I think we wanted to map these with the food production, the preparation of how food is prepared, how it is enjoyed. So our video revolves around these three axes of Kaveri, rice production.
My name is Dayananda Nagaraju. I am an artist and also farmer. So this project, before that I was working almost 10-12 years based on rice. So I do installation drawings and everything. So when I see as a farmer, and if I see my father journey from my childhood to now, how the farmers, if I see my father, I can see entire Indian farmers, what is the situation at present. So based on that, I started working. So, and also the not only sad part, it's also more than that we have a culture, the everyday things attached with the materials and rituals. So that's what my works involved, and also when we met, and then he works the water and I work the rice. That's why we collaborated, put those together, and we started working on this one. So yeah, we started almost one and a half years back, and this a year documentary from the nursery to harvest, and that's what we documented.
In Kodva language, Ponni means a girl child. And when we see the origin of Kaveris in that geography in Western Ghats, she was still a brook. She only becomes a matured river only when she meets the bigger tributaries down Western Ghats. So what we, metaphorically what we saw was the river is still a girl. She's still very young, and that's how Ponni came up. And also, even being so small, the river contributes a lot towards the culture, especially when we're speaking to women there. They told us about how wearing the sari, the style of wearing sari is different in Western Ghats, and that was mainly in respect to the river that they put the pallu behind. So that is what they said. So even in clothing also, Kaveri inspires and influences the people there. And coming back to the installation, what the plan was is we wanted to give viewers a sensory experience of one, understanding the movie, the documentary, by visual documentary, and the other was giving them sensory experience of touch and feel of how paddy feels or how it even looks. One of my nephews, we posed a question to my nephew. It was where does rice come from? The immediate answer was supermarket. And I was wondering that generations these days, they may not have seen how paddy is because of evolving lifestyle. And I think that was an effort that we wanted to bring in, maybe interact more with rice and paddy and such. And like the color of paddy is golden, and that's why we metaphorically Kaveri becomes a golden pony, golden child.
So and also this everlasting river. The title comes actually when I was in college. Actually, when I'm in Bangalore, I mean, it's a big metropolitan city. The food, when I'm having food in a restaurant, and I realize the one-time food, it's like more than like tons of price you require. So where it is really coming from? So that question started with me. Then I started drawings, and it's grown like the work is grown like a river. So I feel like as a farmer, like where the really food comes, but it will never stop the rise, coming to cities because of the populations, the feeding populations are more in cities. So that's what's the everlasting river. It comes.
Some of the issues that the people in Kodagu region faces are like they cannot access water. It's not very easy for them because one, it's a protected land, Western Ghat being protected land, and also the terrain does not allow them to construct check dams or build dams so that they can harvest water. And it is accounted, as we understand, that water, every drop of Kaveri water is accounted for.
And also they're like when we talking with the people, they said like it's illegal to get water from the Kaveri river to their land. So illegally they will do it. They know they have a huge fine and all that. Some region they can do it, but some region they really can't do it. Even they have water, but they can't use it.
And people there beautifully like collated that with like how a girl, when she comes to age, when she gets married, she's been given away to a different family and she nurtures there. So that is how they feel about Kaveri as well. Though she originates in Western Ghat, she's more productive and useful for people downstream rather in their own place. So that's how this conversation came up. So with the terrain in Western Ghat, it's difficult to grow paddy in terraces, in the slopes. So these are mostly in the valley points where paddy is grown. So paddy, like valley points are usually in between two hills, which are owned by big landowners. And these are like lands where they cannot grow coffee. That is where paddy is grown. So it's mostly like, okay, they cannot grow coffee in those places. Paddy is right now grown, and almost entire Coorg is in the hands of families, big landlords, and the most laborers that they work there are migrated, not the people of land. So they come from either like northern Karnataka or they come from Kerala. The rice producers, the cultivators, and even the coffee plantation workers, they've been brought there. They're not people of land.
So before coffee, they used to grow a rice. When one of the farmers mentioned that one, like they depends on the rice before
Earlier.
Before bringing the coffee. So now this commercialized things happen, and also he talks about beautifully about how animals attack their for paddy or banana or thing. And also he mentioned about this how this government and also the forest become more mono plantation, like for the medicine, for the oil or for food. So the elephants, they don't have any food, so they have to come for where the farmers grow to feed themselves. That is, and again, usually people do stay in a forest earlier. Just people to send it back. They know how to do it, but now crunch and wires, nothing to hold the animals. So that's a major issue also there in that region. So the farmers talks about that actually, and also like how politicians neglected of farmers. So he talks about. I mean, in the videos also he mentioned about this particular thing. Even some of the region, like I can talk commonly for the places. Before it was rice is not a major thing, But later on, when there's green revolutions happen, we want to feed the country. So we need the production things. So when they started green revolution, that's what all the hybrid seeds come to the farmers' hands, and also indigenous seeds are away from the farmers. So in that case, like they also, if you look at that, they also come with whatever the available in the seeds, not like this one. The rice is a staple food, one thing, and also why the farmers want to have it because of the less water. Because rice require a lot of water, so that's why the farmers. I mean, and also it's like depends on the which region they grow. Like Kurugu region is only one crop. Mysore region is a two crops. The Tamil Nadu is a three crops based on the where they're growing. So in that case, that depends on the region how they grow the rice.
And also the requirement for a rice crop is larger than coffee plantation. Like you need more people working in the field, you need more resources to make a crop. And I think that is where the challenge lies. At present, I think there's more of an outward migration in search of better opportunities, livelihood and other activities. They want more people to come back to agriculture, and unless and until they don't return, the rice agriculture is always in crisis.
And also the technology is like example, there's big cutter machines. Plateau it works, like Mysore plains it works. But in Madkeri and all, it is a bit difficult to do that. When bringing the big machines in their field, it is not possible because of the land and the wetland and all that. So and also it required a lot of people. So if you look at present, even landowners suffer. I mean, like literally they are like think twice to
Cultivate rice. What we want to capture is the life and death. Everything starts and ends with rice. You start something, they worship with rice. You end your life, is a death in family, you ended with rice. So all the processes, all the events are very closely connected with rice. Like if you take Puthri or Harvest Festival, I think that is the only time when the community maintains a vegetarian diet for 15 days. And just because to honor the rice, honor the food, and when anybody, a family member dies, they offer Pinda, the last offering, as rice balls. So it is very closely knit, and this has to be preserved. These filaments of culture are very important. That is what weaves the larger blanket of the community, which brings everyone together.
And also the beautiful, like the kind of remembering the ancestor, putting the rice again in a water, whatever the ritual they practice. So even after the death also, if it's for ancestor, they feed the rice. Metaphorically, the monoculture, monocrop, or anything. The larger you want to feed a larger population, and so the solution is based on the region wise. Why I'm telling that one, because in Madkeri is a different climates and different earth, water and all. If you go to it's the same state Karnataka, and if you go to North Karnataka, it's a different environment. So the same seed can't work.
And coming to value, I think rice has competition with other more not value adding, but more expensive crops. I think coffee brings more revenue, oranges brings more revenue, but the kind of cultivation process involved, I think rice cultivation is more tenacious. I think for coffee, if you plant a coffee plant for it stays for 8 to 10 years, and an orange plantation also stays to 8 to 10 years. So not much work goes there. You have to take care, you have to water, you have to maybe give some manure and then harvest it. But in rice, it does not work like that.
And also
rice
you have
is very
to
short period, and you need like complete focus
on the
crop.
period.
And rice is very delicate. I think with these challenges, there are also other bottlenecks, such as we talk about government policies. like today, I think government gives more value for a cash crop than a food crop. And also other bottlenecks comes at policy level, like how much rice is supported and how much other things as such. I think for them, if you have seen the video, I think they talk about how wild animals are creating problems, and that is mainly because government policies on how they maintain forests. Because I think when you when an outsider, if you see, there's no connection between the policy of forest and rice agriculture. But here, because of the geography, it is. Now you cannot just make the forest barren without any food for the animals. Just grow teak and oil seeds. Where will they get food? So they come looking down or come looking to the next plantation looking for food. And when they come to the plantation, it's like ready food available. You have banana, you have so many crops, and so that is how. And animals are very smart. They know where they get food. So it's challenging to grow a crop. Even rice, they love. Elephants they love rice. Wild boars also love rice. I think when if it's a standing rice crop, like they come down and they feast on it. So these are challenges where not one or two people can solve these. I think it has to be a larger intervention of how such policies can change, how it can be more rice production friendly. So that is what is required. We forget that Kaveri is the river, and with her, the civilizations have come up. There's no point in fighting. Like we have to understand that we have to go forward, think ways of how we make more water, more food, and I think we have to keep the civilization going and feeding the civilization. So I think with the video, that is what we intend to communicate. Instead of, I think when the 3 videos are complete, they can be stronger about our point of view.
Yeah.
Like how it's all may seem all different, but it's all same at the end of the day. It's all dependent on water, it's all dependent on rice. So you just have to work together rather creating such political scenarios of water.
So
Not
what-
make it a political commodity. Kodagu is a very small region. Mysuru and Tamil Nadu are larger regions with more water, more rice production and more cultural influence. I think we can see more of what we've already shown. A lot of agriculture, a lot of culture,
family
and also not to forget a lot of food preparations.
Yes.
Different types of food preparations.
Yes.